Breaking the gray.
Sarah,
Hey, Russ.
we did it again.
Yes,
We did it again.
another week.
Another week, and it looks like you're smiling and you have vibrant color. How's the sun in London today?
Yeah, well, we've got Storm Barra today. So not so much sun, a lot of lashing rain, but still all good.
Yeah. I'm in the northern part of the state of California. Sun is out. I see fog rolling in, Tule fog rolling in.
Of course.
So I'm going to try to take in as much of my morning light as possible, and move there. But we are so excited today because we are finishing up the end of season 2, which is making me a little sad. I got a little weepy last night thinking that Udo, our guest, is going to be our last guest for the year, as we roll into 2022. What should we say quickly about our season 2? We have so many memorable moments, but how would we wrap that all up into
my
a sentence?
goodness, so many a lot of friends that we had on and a lot of new friends that we made. So, that's
right.
My summary, and a lot of good advice. I'm certainly feeling a lot better for all of the advice, and the challenges are catching up with me. I certainly, I feel as fit as a butcher's pup.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Same here. I feel like my entire friend book just blew up. My Instagram looks very different now.
Oh,
like
good.
I have a lot of men with no shirts on, drinking green drinks and taking ice baths and a lot of sleep. And I feel very much part of this scientific community, even though I'm not a scientist. But let's introduce our last guest of the year. Sarah, do you want to do the honors since...
Yes, I will. We're going to have Udo Erasmus, who actually, way back, I did a nutrition degree, and actually it was the oil that I always used to recommend back then. So I was absolutely delighted when his team reached out to us. So hi, Udo, how are you?
Hi, I'm just glad to be here.
That's fabulous. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your thing is the oil, but I'm sure now that you've done so much more, I know that you're writing books and doing courses and all kinds of things. But certainly that's what you're famous for. And, I'm used to seeing your name on all the supermarket shelves, or maybe health food shops, should I say. So actually it was a really lovely surprise when I thought I was going to be interviewing you today. So welcome.
Glad to be here. Glad to be on.
It would be cool to have a little bit of your background because, I know we talk a lot about biohacking, which is maybe a new term, but I know that probably you're one of the pioneers of certainly some of the things that the biohackers talk about, which is, eating fat, more fat in your diet, good fats, bad fats. So maybe you can just tell us how you got into all of that.
Yeah, I have a background in biochemistry and genetics and biological sciences and psychology and the hard sciences, because I've always tried to figure out how things work, because I came out of the Second World War and we were refugees at the end of the Second World War. And everything, there was chaos and I never knew what I could depend on. So my whole life, I've always liked to learn how things work. Because when you know how things work, you have some predictive power.
Yes. And
so that's how I got into wanting to know everything about everything. And but that's the big story, and maybe we'll get to that later. But I got married and we had 3 kids, and my marriage broke up. And I had a gardening job, and I'd gotten a pesticide sprayer's license as part of that job.
Right.
And I wanted to kill something because I was really upset. And so I took a full-time job as a pesticide sprayer and sprayed them carelessly for 3 years. Like I walked across the lawns that I had just sprayed with weed killers.
Right.
Until the skin peeled off the bottom of my feet.
Oh my
and then
goodness.
I wore rubber boots, but it was a summer job, so I wore a bathing suit. And the wind would drift the spray on my back, and I knew it. And people asked me, "Aren't you worried you're going to get poisoned?" I said, "Nah, I'm immune." I think we call that testosterone poisoning.
Right.
And after 3 years, I got poisoned. Went to the doctor, said, what do you got for pesticide poisoning? She said, nothing. And that's when the penny really dropped for me. I mean, I was never a junk food eater that much, and mainly because I was simple and I didn't like cooking. And so I was eating a lot of raw plant foods just because it was convenient. But that day, it was like, oh my God, my health is really my responsibility. And if I don't care about it, maybe nobody does. Because your doctor still gets paid even if you die.
Yeah.
Right? Even if the method doesn't work, he still gets paid. You stay sick, maybe, right?
Not like the barefoot doctors where it's the other way around. You know, that's
what's that?
The barefoot doctors in is it China where they only get paid to keep you well, which seems like a much better system to me.
Right. Exactly, because then they actually have to know what they're doing and not just follow blindly somebody else's suggestions. Yeah. And so anyway, I used my background because they didn't have anything. So I used my background and got into the journals to look at how basically nutrition and health, nutrition and disease. That was my focus. I could have looked at water and air too, but I was not thinking about it. I was thinking the body's made out of food. And so if there's something wrong with your body, then you need to raise your standard of the food you eat, because 98% of your body is turned over every year. So your body is a major construction site.
Yeah.
And if you raise your standard within 1 year, you can have rebuilt your body 98% to a higher standard.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's called healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the basis of healing, because the body's always turning over. That's why we eat. After we're adults, we still keep eating. Every day you have to, stuff is removed and you got to replace it.
Yeah.
And so I got stuck on, and I was looking at everything, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids, carbs, everything. I was interested in everything, but I got stuck on fats because it was the most confusing area.
Right.
Like, for instance, they said omega-6 is an essential fatty acid, which means you can't make it, but you got to have it. So you got to bring it in from outside. If you don't, then your health goes down and you get deficiency symptoms that get worse with time. And if you don't get enough long enough, you die. That's how important this stuff is.
Yes.
And if you bring it back before you die, then all the problems that come from not getting enough are reversed. That's what essential means. So omega-6 is essential, says one piece of research, and that's been known since 1929. And there's other research that says if you eat omega-6s, you get cancer and it kills you.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going, what? It's essential and then it gives you cancer and kills you? It's like, and trying to figure out that contradiction made me look deeper and made me look into how oils are made. And the issue is not the omega-6s, but the damage done to them by the processing, because the processing is careless.
Yes.
And so then molecules get changed and they're no longer natural. And life never made a program to break them down because they never existed in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then the year after I got poisoned, just like it was, my timing was so good. It wasn't my timing really, but the year after I got poisoned, it was established that omega-3s are also essential by the same definition. And 99% of the population doesn't get enough. Every cell needs them. They're a nightmare to work with because they're super, super sensitive, 5 times more sensitive than the omega-6s. And I thought, oh my God, I can't get healthy on oils the way they're being made. We need to make oils with health in mind, and we need to bring the omega-3s that are missing in most people's diets back into the diet. And so I developed a method for making oils with health in mind. That's really is my claim to fame, right?
Yeah.
And that meant we had to protect the oils from light, oxygen, and heat while they're being pressed, filtered, settled, filled, and then refrigerate them. We put them in glass because plastic leaches into oil and doesn't belong in the body. So you put them in glass, put a box around it to keep the light out, put them in the fridge.
Yeah.
So we're taking care of the way we take care of ice cream like that. We take care of steaks like that, but nobody wants to take care of oils like that, even though oils are the most sensitive of our nutrients. Mm-hmm. And they need the most care, and we give them the least. We throw them in the frying pan and watch them turn into smoke. And you know that when oil turns into smoke, you've changed the chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So So, and then we got into flaxseed oil because flax is the richest source of omega-3s that's easily available. And then I became omega-6 deficient on flax oil because it has a lot of omega-3 and very little omega-6. And I got dry eyes, skipped heartbeats, arthritis-like pain in my finger joints, and thin, papery skin. And I fixed it by eating sunflower seeds, which have a lot of omega-6 and no omega-3. So the balance between those two is important too, because they'll crowd each other out if that balance goes off. And so then I developed a blend that is properly balanced, has 9 ingredients, because flax oil by itself can actually hurt you. So, and that's basically is my short story.
Yeah. I mean, it's fabulous. I mean, because really you were doing that when it wasn't so fashionable to talk about oils or, you know.
Right. At that time, actually, people thought that oils are bad and we should avoid them as much as we can. And they put carbs on the bottom of the food pyramid as the food you should eat the most of.
That's
this is 1979 after the McGovern report on nutrition and health. And that's all. Then everybody got overweight, but nobody made the connection that carbs make you fat. If you eat more than you burn, either you're going to wear them, right? Yep. And they put the oils on top for what you should do the least.
Yes.
And they always said oils are bad. They should have said damaged oils are bad.
Yeah.
Processing was the problem, not oil. And that's still, I mean, I think most people still haven't got that clear. It's the processing that industry does carelessly that causes most of our nutrition-related problems. Okay? Yeah. And if you want to do a biohack, and you need to do a nature hack, and you need to start getting back in line with how it was in nature before we became civilized.
Yes. So do you think, you know, because in the biohacking movement, there's a lot of emphasis on oils, but particularly on fish and shellfish and DHA as one of the things that you really need. Do you think that's a little bit out of proportion too, and that really it should be more of a holistic approach to fats?
Yes, because DHA is 5 times more sensitive than the plant omega-3s, which are 5 times more sensitive to damage to the omega-6s. And they're a nightmare to work with. They use garbage material to make them out of.
Right.
The oils are you know, the reason they smell bad and why you get the burps is because that stuff is spoiled. Right. Rancid, because it reacts with oxygen. You know, if you can get that oil, fish oils in bottles, you know, not in capsules, but in bottles.
That's right.
You open up the bottle and you have it in your fridge. Within days, you can smell the rancidity of the oil because it reacts so fast with the oxygen in the fridge, even at low temperature.
Right.
And so I never recommended fish oils because I knew that even way back then. I've never recommended them. And what else? What were the other oils that you're talking about in the biohacking?
Well, the biohacking, I mean, they're into oils in general. It's just, you know, they normally say fish oils, like fermented fish oil even, and DHA. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, most people say to get it from shellfish, but I know that, you know, a lot of people are resistant to eating shellfish. I'm not one of those people, but people are, so they get the capsules and the oil.
But
you know,
and most people used to always associate omega-3 is fish oil.
That's
omega-3 is fish oil.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. But now, fish is the dirtiest meat on the planet because everything we dump on land goes downhill. So it all ends up in the water. And if it's oil soluble, it'll end up in the oils, in the creatures, in the ocean, and will accumulate and concentrate up the food chain. So when you eat salmon, that's high on the food chain. And it's dirty, even in Alaska, where there's like nothing. There's PCBs and dioxins in the Alaska.
Really? So you don't recommend eating fish or fish oils?
Not anymore. I used to. No? It used to be a very good food.
Okay.
But you know, if you poo in your nest, you'll nest in your poo. That's what we've done to the environment.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, indeed. So what do you recommend then for people who are deficient in omega-3? Because normally fish is the most obvious choice for people to eat.
So you want to get it plant-based because plants are low on the food chain.
I see.
And we make it out of flax for the omega-3s and sunflower sesame for omega-6s.
And the body can make the conversion, because I know one of the arguments, I mean, I follow a guy called Dr. Jack Kruse. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he says that the body doesn't make that conversion.
No, that's what he's been told.
Oh.
And the reason, I'll tell you how that happened. The week in 1987, the week we came out with flaxseed oil as a source of omega-3, one of the fish oil companies started saying the body can't convert. The science said it can convert, and women convert very well. Men don't convert into DHA, but they don't need as much DHA because your brain only turns over 2.4 to 3.8 milligrams of DHA a day. Milligrams. So if you had 1 gram of fish oil, 1 gram of alpha-linolenic acid, you would only have to convert like less than 0.5% to get what you need. And the brain is where the most conversion is required, right? So the research is very clear. The body does convert. The issue was we never got enough starting material.
I see.
We were not getting enough ALA in our diet. And what we're recommending is between 10 and 20 grams of ALA, 2 to 4 tablespoons, the U.S. table, North American tablespoons. They're a little bit smaller than the English tablespoon.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. The English tablespoon is 20 milligrams and the North American is 15. So 2 to 4 tablespoons. This is like a food oil foundation, not a supplement. And you can't fix what's wrong with the food oil foundation by throwing a couple of supplement pills at it. You have to fix the foundation. And then on top of that, you may benefit from taking a supplement, but not a supplement instead of your foundation.
Right.
And most everybody's got that wrong. When they're talking about fish oil, it's a supplement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I come at this from a complete novice. So number one, Udo, I think you are the pioneer of biohacking. You're probably one of the ones who've been doing this for the longest, because when we talk to everyone, and everyone is a subject of one, N equals one. And you literally were a subject of one, having gone through your sort of transformative moment of pesticides and then doing all of your own personal testing, saying, it made me sick. I couldn't process these things. I mean, understanding that because you're doing it to yourself is truly what these pioneers we talk to. And I would say you're probably the first, right? You're one of the first who probably cracked open this, I think where I
was there before the word was invented.
That's right. Right. Yeah. It should be called Udo hacking.
Well, that's what your guys are doing right now is Udo hacking.
That's right. We're Udo hacking. I just get confused. And I think my confusion comes in so many different places of what am I supposed to take? How am I supposed to take it? And I think, I come at it from a real novice of like, I just started taking supplements. I just started doing some of these things. What is bio ready and what are all these things? And I'm learning it, but knowing that, I feel like I'm doing the right thing by taking my omega-3s and doing the fish oils, but now it's not the right thing. So let's sort that out, because I think there is a lot of confusion on that.
Okay. Yeah. The problem is that everybody has an agenda. And if the agenda drives your narrative, then, and you don't know what the agenda is, then you get suckered by the narrative. Right? That's just the fact of it. And human beings are good storytellers. Mm-hmm. Whether those stories are true or not, they're both good storytellers. They're also good liars. So you have to know what the agenda is. And for me, the agenda was very simple. I got poisoned. I was trying to get healthy. I needed accurate information. That's why I went into the science. That's why I didn't just read a popular book on nutrition. That's why I had to dig it out for myself, because even in the industry, the people who do research on fish oil, they get their grants from the fish oil industry. And they're always going to put in a good word for their sponsors. And they'll sometimes twist the facts, and they'll sometimes lie even in the research.
Yes.
Lucky for me, nobody supports me. So I can tell the truth.
Yeah.
right? And I also have I have a burr up my butt about lying. Lying is a form of dictatorship because it takes your choice away, right? You can't make good decisions on inaccurate information.
Right.
So that
Right. And
to me, that's a really big deal. I came out of the Second World War, and the lies and the confusion, is a big deal. So I'm always trying to find what is true, and my question is, what is true to life? Not what does the expert think. What is true to life? Because sometimes the experts get sidetracked too. Even well-meaning experts get sidetracked.
I mean,
so the question to me is always, how was it in nature before we got civilized? Sorry,
No, I want to let you go. You're the expert here, and it's so right. I think we're living in a world where we actually don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's so much information coming at us, and we're so used to saying, "I read it, that's true, and that's right." And what we read were, journals and the New England Journal of Medicine. Those things were valid points to us, but we spent so many years breaking that down and saying none of that's true. Dr. Fauci is wrong, whatever. But by discrediting scientists, now you really discredit those that are sort of on the edges, you, Udo, and others who have been saying these things all along, because a lot of it is self-created people who just made up things and said, this is the truth. But the reality is here, you've gone through the experimentation with yourself. You've been doing this for years. And what you're saying is very true about, the water and oils and absorption and all those things. So let's follow along with what you're saying and see and make sure we're sharing the right information with everyone. Yeah.
That's always the hope, right? Because I came out of the war too, it's like everything that I do, like why I got into oils is I realized when I found out, oh my God, 99% of the population doesn't get enough omega-3 for optimum health, and they're damaged. And in fact, in a tablespoon of oil that is 1% damaged by the way they're made, you get 60 quintillion damaged molecules. 60 quintillion molecules. We don't even know what that is. 19 zeros, right? Mm-hmm. And you get more than 1 million damaged molecules for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells in 1 tablespoon of an oil that has been processed the way they're processed and has been damaged 1% by that process. 1% doesn't sound like much until you start counting the molecules. And then people eat 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then on top of that, they throw it in the frying pan, and you got to multiply that damage by another 3 to 6 times because of the damage done by light, air, and heat in the frying pan, right? And then you say, well, this is a mess. So you're literally putting poison in your body, and you're doing it by the tablespoon.
Yeah, and some people think they're doing it and actually being healthy. That's the problem too.
Right, and we don't know because I don't know if you've ever heard that there's 60 quintillion damaged molecules in a tablespoon of oil that is 1% damaged. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
So how much is that? So I was in Ireland, and we asked the number. So I asked people how many damaged molecules do you think there might be in a tablespoon of oil 1% damaged? And then they guess, and their guesses are always more than 1 billion times too low. So then I say to them, look, you're going to go and fly home for the holidays, and you're about to get on the plane, and somebody who you can 100% trust to only tell you the facts tells you that your chance of crashing and dying on this flight is 1 billion times higher than you thought it was. Would you get on the airplane?
Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
And the point I'm trying to make is we're underestimating the damage we're doing to ourselves by 1 billion times.
Wow.
In terms of oils, right?
Yeah.
Is that maybe a useful incentive for rethinking what you're doing with oils, and maybe going back to either the seeds and nuts that contain the oil and eating those, unroasted, unsalted seeds and nuts, or looking for a source of oils that are actually made with health in mind. Because it's actually because more health problems come from damaged oils than any other part of nutrition, and more health benefits from making the change than any other part of nutrition. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I totally agree with you. And I think probably what would be most helpful is if you go over a few things with us, because for a start, I mean, I know a little bit, but now I'm realizing as I'm speaking to you, I probably don't know a great deal about oils, but how is best to keep it? What one should we be buying? What one should we be cooking with? Because, you know, I travel around the world and I stay in different people's kitchens, and I see some people have got like an open bottle of oil that's just on the windowsill in a plastic bottle, and that freaks me out. But then I'm cooking with coconut oil. Is that the right thing to do? You know, maybe we should have a little.
So obviously you guys are young sprouts. I'm an old guy. I'm 79. When I was a kid, cooking meant using water to cook your food. And when you used oils, that was called frying or deep frying.
Right.
We've changed that. So now when you say cooking, we usually mean oil.
Yes.
And the dumbest thing that we have ever invented to do to ourselves is using oils for cooking.
Really?
The dumbest thing. Yeah, because you're damaging oils by light, oxygen, heat, all at the same time. When you're frying, you're burning the food, right? You know it's burned, right? And the research is very clear. When you overheat oils, when you overheat starches, when you overheat proteins, you change molecules into carcinogenic molecules. All three of them, independent of each other, are associated with higher risk of cancer. So then you have to be asking yourself, what should I do with my frying pan? Well, you should take it out wherever it is, turn it upside down, hit yourself on the head with it really hard so it's associated with pain, and then throw it in the bin. Throw it in the garbage
You're
bin.
breaking my heart, Udo. What about all of I've got stir fries and I fry my eggs and I do all kinds of things. I use coconut oil all the time in my pan.
I know. And
it's a bad thing.
You'll come to regret it.
Oh my
if you
goodness.
don't change.
Okay.
Right? I mean, see, and then people say, well, how should I do my eggs? Well, you can eat them raw like a fox would.
Yeah. No.
we used to do that, punch a hole in each end and just suck them out when we were kids.
I could do that.
That's a little brutal, I know.
That's I can boil them now.
Hard boil them, you can water scramble,
I can boil them.
You can poach them.
Of course. But so you're saying no frying at all is what you're saying?
No frying at all. From a health perspective. I mean, if you don't care, you can do what you want. But from a health perspective, it is the dumbest thing we've ever invented to do with our food.
Wow. So really the oils, you're saying you take them really purely medicinally, like on a spoon, taking it like a medicine rather than cooking with it?
No, what we did after I became omega-6 deficient on flaxseed oil, I developed a blend. And it's called Udo's Oil.
Udo's Choice Oil, is it?
Yeah, Udo's Choice. Yeah, Udo's Choice Oil Blend or 369 Oil Blend.
Yeah.
You use it in food, but after the food comes off the fire. So you cook your vegetables, and this is, by the way, even how olive oil was used traditionally. They cooked their vegetables in water, then they dumped off the water. They added the oil to provide flavors because oils enhance flavors.
Yes.
But they also improve the absorption of oil-soluble nutrients in foods.
Of course, yes.
And many of those are super therapeutic.
Yeah.
Including lutein and, the red pigment in tomatoes and the carotenes and, but there's lots of other different ones. So what you're doing then is you're not wrecking the oil. If you do it that way, you're getting better absorption of important nutrients, and you're improving flavors. And you can do that. You can put it in hot soup, and you can put it on steamed vegetables, and you can put it in sauces that you use. But you put it in after the sauce. It's the last thing you add.
Yeah.
After the dish, whatever you're making, comes off the heat.
Fair enough.
And if you don't eat it by the spoon, because oils don't taste that good.
Right.
There are a lot of people who do take it off a spoon, especially athletes, and especially people who are Tony Robbins fans.
Yep.
They were taught to do that. I have never told anybody to do that.
Okay.
Ever. Mix it in food, spread your intake out over the course of the day, and take about a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day. So it's usually for most people 2 to 4 tablespoons. North American tablespoons. So if you weigh 200 pounds or 25, a tablespoon per 25 kilograms,
Okay.
if you're doing kilos.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what happens if you get the right amount, your skin becomes soft and velvety, and if your skin is dry, you need more oil. Shows up more in the desert than in humid country. Shows up more in winter than in summer. Dry skin.
Yes, it does.
You need more oil in winter than in summer because you burn quite a bit of oil for energy.
Yeah.
So not as much oil makes it to the skin. That's how we measure. That's how we measure optimum intake.
Right. That is interesting because here in England, in the winter, I definitely noticed that. And I just thought it was the chaff from the cold. But yeah, you're right. It probably is that. Although I do eat a lot of coconut oil. Is that a no-no? Just on a side note?
Coconut oil is, there's some research now. A lot of claims have been made for coconut that are not makeable on the basis of research. Because when the book came out, I looked it all up because they made all the claims that can be legitimately made for omega-3s. They made them for coconut oil.
Yeah.
And I went into Medline and looked them up. Not one of those claims had scientific foundation.
Interesting.
But it keeps well. Yes. That's one of the reasons why it's popular. And now it's not damaged the way it used to be when I started working in nutrition, because they used to treat it with Drano window washing acid, bleach it, and heat it to frying temperature like what's done to all the other oils. And it's damaged. But there's now research that says the coconut oil will increase LDL cholesterol. But if you eat the coconut, it doesn't. So they think the fiber in the coconut protects you from the oil by itself, raising your LDL cholesterol levels. Interesting. But that aside, the only thing from fats that you need, that you have to have, that is essential, is omega-3 and omega-6. And coconut is a lousy source of both of those. Very low in it. It's a tropical fat. It's mostly saturated. But once you got your omega-3 and 6, then that cuts you slack for anything else that you do.
You can put it in.
So what I say is, do that first, and then, then you can coconut oil. You can use coconut, because the saturated fats that get blamed for causing insulin resistance and sticky platelets. That's actually not the saturated fats that are the problem. The problem is not enough omega-3, because omega-3 is essential, and it makes platelets less sticky and makes you more insulin sensitive. So only when you're omega-3 deficient, and 99% of the population doesn't get enough for optimum health, will saturated fats hurt you. Once you got your foundation in place, there's a lot of houses you can build on that.
Yeah.
Right?
So what are your oils made of, Udo? What sources?
There's 9 ingredients: flax for the omega-3, sunflower and sesame for omega-6. Now, why we do that is people get a lot of omega-6s, but not enough omega-3. But the 6s they get are damaged. So what we're saying is your body needs an oil change.
Okay.
Just like your car.
Yep.
You got to dump the dirty oil and you got to replace it with clean oil. Very important, more important in oils than any other part of nutrition because of their sensitivity, right? So flax, sunflower, sesame, we've got evening primrose oil in it, not for the GLA that it contains, but for the antioxidants that are naturally present in it. Then we have a little bit of coconut oil, but it's a very small amount, so it's not a problem because we're emphasizing omega-3 and 6. And we have some vitamin E in it, and we have soy lecithin that is GMO-free that comes from Europe, because we can't get that in North America, so we have to bring it in from Europe. What am I missing? Oh, we have some rice germ and some oat germ, and that's also for what's called minor ingredients in oils that have major health benefits.
Right.
So that's what's in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll admit, Sarah, I this is the first I've seen your world turns upside down. Like no longer are you're not going to go coconuts anymore. This is a whole new thing. I mean, Udo, this is rare for Sarah to be stumped like this. I love this. Can we have you on every episode?
Oh, you like stumping her?
Oh, it's really hard to do. She knows everything.
Oh, very funny.
Well, it's always good to learn, and that's been fascinating.
Well, you know what? Yeah, honestly, I thought I knew a lot, and every week I learned something. Oh, really?
Yeah, there's just so much, and it's so interesting.
And this is a difficult area. It's a difficult area, and it's an area that probably more lies in nutrition have been told about fats than any other area of nutrition. And there are contradictory stories, because there are fats that heal and fats that kill. That's what the book is called, right?
That's right. I remember the book.
And the reason for that is I wanted to make it clear there are two opposite stories on fats. You need to understand which is which, and then you have a basis for choices that actually work for your health.
That's right.
So there's nothing in nutrition that is contradictory like that other than fats.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it is a total minefield for sure. Well, at least when people buy your oil, you've kind of taken out the work for people, in as much as, okay, this is the oil that has the good fats in it. The work's done. They buy that Udo's choice oil.
When I started, I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to tell the story.
Right.
Because I'm there's an academic in me somewhere, right? Yes. And then my brother said to me, no, he said, you need to take responsibility for using the information you have to make what is appropriate to make. Because if you don't do it, then somebody will use your book and your information to prop up something else that they're doing, but that's not made with health in mind. And I didn't like the idea, but I couldn't come up with a good reason why he was wrong. That's how I got into actually working with making oils and doing the machine.
So one thing I think we need to do is we need to start lobbying all of these oil companies to stop selling their oils in plastics, number one, right? Like that, would that be like a key thing for us to do is, don't buy oils in plastic.
No, you know what?
Stop putting it in plastic.
You know what? Because I was born in a war, the war ended when I was 3, and I was still bitching about it when I was 26. Until my sister took me aside and said, we agree with all the things you bitch about, but the problem with you is you just bitch. You don't do anything about it. Right. And that really rocked my world. Right? So instead of pointing fingers and saying, you guys, you should be doing something. No, just vote with your wallet. Take your money elsewhere.
Just only buy the glass ones. Yeah.
Because you do have some choices.
Yes.
So vote with your wallet, because that's how you change the world.
Yeah.
Because when I named a law after myself, a physical law. You know how there's Boyle's law and Bernoulli's law, and I have Udo's law of hearing, and that came out of people saying, why don't the doctors pay attention to what's going on in nutrition? And I said, because it's working. Everybody's going to the doctor. Yeah. And the idea is they will start listening when their business walks out the door. So the law is, when your business walks out the door, your hearing improves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's Udo's law of hearing. So instead of pointing at them, do something new.
Yeah. Take
and
personal
support something better
for your health. Yeah, that's what we've said all along. You need to take responsibility for your health and not start moaning about the doctors are not doing whatever.
Yeah, because
there's enough
in the
information
midst of
out there.
Mess.
Yeah, there's enough information that you can find out for yourself. And, you can listen to podcasts like this, or you've got so much information on your website about all kinds of things where people can just look it up and make a different choice. And buy the book, Fats That Heal, Fats That Cure. I read that a long time ago, and there's all kinds of things people can do. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the 7-day challenge now, Udo, because I'm waiting to see what you're going to ask us to do, because it probably is going to change my...
I mean, it depends. If we talked about other topics, I would give you different challenges. But since we're talking about oils, what do you weigh, Mr. What do you weigh?
Russ. Yeah. I have to admit it. 225.
245?
225. Okay. Come on now. This is not like mid-pandemic Russ. This is what? Some changes. This is not mid-pandemic Russ. I'm weighing 245.
You can't blame the pandemic. You can't blame the pandemic.
I used to, but now.
Yeah, but you didn't lose any weight when you blamed it, did you?
No, but then afterwards I met Sarah, and Sarah was like, "You got to lose some weight. Your head's huge."
So you weigh 245.
225. 225. I want all.
Get the oil.
Listeners to me. Yeah. Okay.
Get the oil. Start with a tablespoon. Mix it in food, and literally it goes in any food you want. Lower your carbs, because if you eat oil and you're eating a lot of carbs, you might even gain some weight. But if you do a fuel switch, use the oil as your main fuel.
Okay.
And you're a 4.5 tablespoon a day person.
Okay.
North American tablespoons. Mix it. You can put it in breakfast. You can put it in lunch. You can put it in dinner. Spread out your intake over the course of the day so that you don't overload your liver, because sometimes if people's liver is weak, then they'll feel tired, heavy, or nauseous if they get too much. And my liver capacity is very big. I've taken 17 tablespoons on an empty stomach, but I wasn't hungry. I mean, totally appetite suppressed the whole day and just on the edge of nausea. Right. So 4.5 tablespoons, and pay attention what happens in your body.
Okay.
Like notice your skin, notice your energy level. Notice your calmness, notice your ability to think. Some of those things take longer to improve.
Okay.
And some of them are really fast. And it's different with different people. Some people notice within hours of taking the oil. Some of the athletes that take it off a spoon notice within 30 to 45 minutes that they have a burst of energy.
Okay.
On their workouts. Like we talk to strongmen and bodybuilders and people like that.
Yeah.
But the one that gets the most rants is the skin feels really nice. That might take a little longer than a week. The skin gets it last. So if your body tanks up, the inner organs get it first. And only when the inner organs have what they need does it make it out to the skin. That's because you can live with dry skin, but if your inner organs lost their oil, you'd be history. So nature has set it up that you get only when. So that's why we measure optimum that way.
Okay.
Right?
Does it help digestion at all? Not that I have problems with my digestive system, but does it help?
Not that every episode.
Well, there are two things for digestion. One is digestive enzymes with your food, because when you cook foods, you kill the enzymes in the food. You destroy them. And then your body has more than twice as much work to do. And it wasn't made for that. So if you cook your food, take enzymes with your meals and probiotics. They're on the outside of the food, but they get killed when you cook your foods. So you need to replace them too. And then the third one is fiber that comes from plants. And the last one is bitters that help liver and digestive function. Okay. That's probably what you would have said, right?
I've signed myself up. I'm signing myself up. Okay, Sarah.
But the oil, the way the oil helps in digestion, it actually, probiotics and oils have good interactions if they're good oils.
Okay.
Right? So they help the probiotics situation, and they slow down digestion a little bit. So that means you have more time for the digestion to be completed. Okay. And they're also really good for healing, omega-3s and 6s. And they also give your cells more energy. So whatever your cells are doing, they will do that more effectively. They're very central. It's a big deal. Sometimes we call omega-3s the God molecule. Because it's the highest energy. You know, God is power, God is energy. And this is the highest energy molecule of all of our essential nutrients.
Yeah.
Is there anything? I know. Is there anything that I have to prepare for when Sarah's coming down off of her coconut oil addiction?
Yes, you put your arm around her and say, "They're there.
It's okay. You're going to be fine." Shaking a little bit, cold sweats and shaking.
No, nothing like that.
Okay, good.
No,
good.
I'll be fine. Right. I've got jars of it over there in the kitchen. All right, but I'm on the trip. I'm gonna get the Udo's choice, and I'll work out the correct dose.
Yeah.
And we'll do it for
I'm cautious asking you what you weigh.
You can ask, but the trouble is English people have such weird things. We still talk in stones, and so nobody ever knows what I'm talking about because I'm 8.5 stone.
Oh, our stones came from marijuana.
Well, I'm not 8.5 stoned.
Yeah.
No, that's from California. But no, I can work it out though. I can work out the dosage. It's no problem. So we will do that. Thank you so much.
It's a tablespoon per 50 or a tablespoon, American, like 15 milliliters per 25 kilograms.
15 milliliters. See, we call that a teaspoon over here, 15 milliliters.
Sorry?
A teaspoon over here is 15 mil.
No. Your teaspoons?
Yeah.
No, they're 10.
Teaspoons in English. Huh?
They're 10.
Are they?
Your teaspoons are 10 and your tablespoons are 20.
Uh-huh.
I think. I could be wrong.
Is this why my cakes were always a total disaster, Udo?
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's why. UK is not exactly a health place because their dessert spoons are too big, so they eat too much
enormous.
Dessert.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, too much custard and eating mess. Okay, no worries. Well, I've got that down, Russ. You got it? I can see you writing things down. Thank you so much for coming on, Udo.
Yeah.
It's always a little bit short because we have guests with such interesting things to say, and I'm sure that you had a ton of other stuff about courses. So maybe we'll have to have you back on.
I'm working now on a total field of health based on nature and human nature. It's a really good topic. But it's big. It's big. It's all
right. We'll
can you come back?
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Because you have to look at the nature of human nature.
Yeah, for sure.
And we haven't done that in 200,000 years.
That's right. Did it bring in some of all the evolutionary biology and paleo?
No. I'm familiar with evolutionary biology, and no, I'm doing this on my own.
Okay.
With making the connections with the science background that I have, but making connections that science has not wanted to go to. And it's not like they couldn't have figured it out. It's obvious when you take the blinders off.
Right.
But science has always been more into the material than into the energetic world.
That's right. Yeah, that's definitely gone down. Oh, okay. Well, I think we're going to end it there, and I hope we're going to say goodbye to Udo, although he has cut out a little bit. So thank you, Udo. Maybe he'll pop back in, and maybe we'll have him back on.
Let's just talk real quick because let's give him a chance to come back. Again, not many times when we talk to people, and we talk to people and they give us their feedback. Udo was something very different for me. I think knowing we
got cut off again.
Yeah, we're good. And Udo, we were just saying, I think that balance between good for you and dangerous for you with oil is something really interesting. And I think the fact that we pulled that through and we brought that to our audience is so important. And really, we thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Udo. We look forward to having you on again. Take care. Take care. We're going to say goodbye for Udo because he's there in spirit. He just he's got little internet issues.
We see you, Udo. Thank you so much. The Rebel Scientist Podcast is a Breaking the Gray production. Created by Russ Eisenman and Paul Wood. Hosted by Sarah Turner. Music and sound editing by Logan Shea. For more information and other fantastic podcasts, visit breakingthegray.com. That's gray with an E. breakingthegray.com. Breaking the Gray.